In this episode of Beyond Hot Wheels, we're going to take a look at yet another brand out of Hong Kong. And this time we're going to look at eracar. And eracar is what I consider to be a pretty misunderstood brand, at least as far as the US market goes. And I think the reason for that is because of this casting. So this is the Nissan Gtr R35 Nismo. And I think a lot of collectors that come to this brand come to it with the expectation that it's very similar to Mini GT. If you look at the packaging, the packaging is very similar. It's a box. It has a collector number on it. It has the insert the same way that a Mini GT has, and it all looks and feels very similar to Mini GT. But the brand is not trying to be a Mini GT clone. It is a different thing, and what they're trying to do is a very very different kind of thing, and that is definitely you know an example of this is this casting right here. I mean, this is a Volkswagen Caddy Maxi van, and have you seen Mini GT put out a Volkswagen Caddy Maxi? I don't think so. And we'll look at some of these others as that we have here to see what they do with these castings that makes them interesting. This one happens to be a particularly stock version of the van, but they do some interesting things with it that makes it kind of cool. So in order to appreciate eracar, you really do have to give it a chance. You have to look at it for what it is, not what you would want to think it is, because they did a GTR and Mini GT has done so many GTRs, and the packaging looks like Mini GT packaging. It is a completely different kind of thing. So okay, let's go over what you get with a typical eracar, and we'll look at this Honda Integra. Or in the U.S., this would be an Acura Integra, but since they're from Hong Kong, it's branded as a Honda. So the typical eracar is going to be, it's a metal body. You're going to have a plastic base. You're going to have rubber tires. You're going to have model accurate wheels. You'll have lensed headlights, lensed taillights, and then you'll have opening features of some sort. Usually opening doors, or often opening doors, and often an opening hood. And you get a pretty detailed engine in there. And along with the opening doors, you also get a little bit of a step up in the quality of the interior as well. So like you can see here, this is a two-tone interior, and there is more detail in those seats than you might find in something like a Mini GT. So the other thing about these, where there is the comparison with a Mini GT, is these are premium. They are at the same basic level. I would put them in the same general category. They are similar price wise. They're going to be in the 12 or say $10 to $15 range in the U.S. And from that perspective, again, they're very similar, but the castings that they have are very different, and what they're trying to do is quite a bit different. So let's take a look at what exemplifies this the most is probably this. So this is a Mercedes van. This is a Vito van, and this is a pet ambulance, and this replicates a real vehicle from this pet club of Hong Kong, and as a diecast model, it's attempting to be accurate, but it's a little bit quirky, and it has, reproduces the full livery, and like all eracars, it has opening parts. So it has an opening rear lift gate, and it has an opening hood. But in addition to that, this also came with a little stretcher to carry your pet on, or for the ambulance to put your pet on to take him to the pet hospital, and then a little kitten character. And this is just the kind of funny, quirky thing that they do, that makes it a very different kind of thing to a typical Mini GT. A lot of people have described it as being more similar to a majorette, but a more premium and more accurate version of Majorette, and I think that's somewhat appropriate. I also think that a comparison to Tomica Premium is also worthwhile, and there'll be a future Beyond Hot Wheels episode on Tomica Premium as well. And then so another quirky one here is this Honda Vezel Japanese police car, which came with a Japanese police figure directing traffic, which is just kind of cool. And the Honda Vezel is definitely not the world's most exciting car, but it's kind of neat for just getting a basic Japanese car, and like all almost or like most era cars, it has an opening hood and the opening doors, which this one's a little bit tricky to get open, but all right, well, okay, there we go. So it's a fun brand. Like if you approach it from the right perspective and give it a chance, and you like this kind of interesting vehicle, there are some very cool things that they have put out. So this is a Toyota HiAce and Japanese police with this funky traffic control sign on the top, and again you have an opening rear lift gate, and you have the Japanese police livery, and the big funky lights, and it's just a quirky thing, and then they did this this GTR. This is something, Mini GT has lots of GTRs, but they would never do something like this. So this is a Portuguese police livery, and the quirkiness with this one is that it came with a little figure that is actually the driver. So you get a 1/64 scale little driver figure on there, which is kind of cool. But this is, a Portuguese police car, but this is not like a patrol car. It's actually an organ transplant delivery car. So they, when they need to carry an organ that somebody needs, they have a GTR to carry that. And this is, a replica of a real car that the Portuguese police force has. And, looking around, we also have, this is like I was talking about, this VW Caddy and some of the things that they do with it. So they've done a UK police livery, and they've put out quite a few different versions of this. And this one, it came with a little dog, so it's a police dog, although he does not look like a particularly scary dog. But anyway, it's a fun thing. The other casting that a lot of people would probably be drawn to is the Mercedes G63. This one is the AMG version. Yeah, the AMG G63. And it's a pretty cool one. And this one has a opening hood, nice detailed engine, and then it has an opening tailgate, which is a little bit loose, but still kind of cool. And then this one is a non-AMG version in the Dubai police livery with the same features, which is also pretty cool. And you get a little different engine in there, because the AMG is different. No, the same engine. Oops. Yeah, same engine, just painted differently. But that's pretty cool. And then, of course, there's the six-wheeler AMG 6, or AMG 6x6, which is a very interesting vehicle. So these are all true 1/64 scale. I have measured some of them, because when I first got the first when I first received this G63 or G-Wagon, I thought it was small. But I actually measured it, and it is 1/64 scale. So here you get engine again, and you get opening doors. Actually, these doors are really difficult to open, so I'm not going to open them. And this one came with some accessories, like it came with this little roof rack that you mount on there, and it has separate pieces for a bumper, and this is a very fragile piece. So even though I do think that these are more toy-like than some. They do seem to be maybe intended to be played with a little bit more. They definitely have, this is not going to survive any real amount of play. So I don't recommend it. Definitely don't recommend sending that down your Hot Wheels track if you have one. So back to the GTR, and another thing to take a look at on this. So again, here you have the opening doors. But if you look in the interior, if we can get a decent shot in there, there's actually quite a bit of detail in the seats, which is a very, very cool touch for a model at this price point. Nice two-tone seats, which is very cool. And then of course this also has an opening hood, and you can see the engine. Another little quirkiness, or element of quirkiness, the little tiny ad van, Suzuki Every van, and again with an opening tailgate, and just a bizarre little vehicle that you would never find this in the U.S. as far as I know, but it's just a pretty neat little model. And they have put out quite a few versions of this one. And it actually seems that this one has suspension. Most Eracars do not have suspension. This one, I think that's suspension. I don't think it's just the axles bending. It definitely feels like suspension. It bounces. Yeah, that's interesting. Most of them do not have suspension. That one, for some reason, does. And then you have the Suzuki Jimny, and they have put out a ton of different versions of this vehicle. This one I thought was pretty cool because it came with a little surfboard accessory, and it of course has the opening hood as well. So if you can appreciate its quirkiness and you like this kind of thing, like you like police cars, so we also have the Audi A6. This is a Scottish police car in police livery. So if you like, reproductions of real world liveries, a little bit of quirkiness, you appreciate the fact that they are trying to make a reasonably realistic model, while still maintaining having opening parts. It's a very interesting brand, and my first impressions of the brand were not particularly positive. So this GTR was the first model that I picked up, and because of the way the doors fit and the door gaps, I had some pretty significant reservations about the brand. But as I've been accumulating more of their models and getting to know the brand a little bit better, I've actually become a pretty big fan of it, and it is it's just a fun brand to collect, and it has its quirkiness. And then every once in a while they will put out something like this. This is the 50th anniversary Nissan Gtr, which is a pretty slick model, and this one actually has a fully removable hood. If we can get this off, it comes off very easily most of the time. There we go. So it's fully removable, and the hood is actually metal, which is pretty interesting. But you get a nicely detailed engine in there, and this one does not have opening doors, so it doesn't suffer from that same issue with the door gaps. But if you can appreciate it, I think it's an awesome brand, and it's very, it is very cool thing. And so but going back to the GTR again, let's do a quick comparison. Since this is Beyond Hot Wheels series, let's take a look at the Hot Wheels version of the GTR. And this is a little bit of an unfair comparison because this is a Nismo GTR, the eracar, versus a standard GTR in the Hot Wheels. And the Hot Wheels R35 casting is, it's a pretty decent casting in reality for a Hot Wheels. It does get, effectively lensed headlights from the window piece, and they do a pretty good job. They do give it full deco most of the time when they put it out, and they typically look pretty nice. But you can see that eracar definitely goes to the next level in giving you that step up in detail. The carbon fiber pattern on the roof and the hood is much better. The headlights are better. The front end is just, it's on another level as far as its detail and accuracy, and then the rear end is even more so. So it's they really do a good job on this model, and the only thing that lets it down are the door gaps from the opening doors, which is a little bit unfortunate. And we can see this if we compare this to the Tomica Limited Vintage. So in this case, we're comparing a Nismo GTR to another Nismo GTR. And the Tomica Limited Vintage is a much more expensive model. It's probably 3 times the price. It does not have any opening parts, but they do. You can see that it is, even from the eracar, it is a step up. But eracar captures most of the essence of the vehicle pretty well, and they did a good job in just about every sense. You can see that if you compare the headlights, the Tomica has much nicer headlights. Obviously, the Tomica does not have any door gaps. And then if you look at the rear end, realistically, the eracar is not too bad at all, as far as this comparison goes. But this is let's say a $13 model versus I don't remember how much this one cost, $40, $35, something along those lines. But so I think it's an interesting brand. I've really developed an appreciation for it, and I really enjoy collecting it. I love the quirkiness of these kind of things, like the little kitten and the little stretcher. And then there was this other ambulance that they put out. This was another Taiwan Ambulance, which again came with a stretcher, which is a different stretcher than this one, because obviously to carry a person is going to be a different thing than to carry a pet. So it's just fun little quirky details like that makes the brand interesting. I also love international police vehicles, so I'm always excited to get things like a Scottish police car. That really appeals to me, or a Dubai police car. I love that kind of thing. So anyway, if this appeals to you, I highly recommend checking the brand out if you haven't already, and give it a chance. Thank you for watching.